Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. It's in the news. It always is in the news if we're going to talk about it here. And talking about the brain drain, it's over a lot of places, but we've just selected the medical profession, especially as our doctors go to Britain. And then the recent report that over 10,000 Nigerian doctors now practice in the UK, and it doesn't look as if the number is slowing down. We haven't even spoken about Saudi Arabia. We haven't spoken about the US, but the UK in particular, over 10,000 doctors, and there are people who have complaints about that. Indeed, maybe there are even more than a few who will say that, what do you expect? We know, we understand it, but let's speak with a doctor, Dr. Akin Oyejoko, senior medical doctor at the Solomon Jadin Medical Center. He's Assistant Secretary, Association of Nigeria Private Medical Practitioners, the Ogun State chapter. So a very good morning to you, Doctor.
I'm good to be here today.
Indeed. Thank you very much for making the time for us, Dr. Oyejoko. Well,
Thank you very much.
There's a sense, well, maybe I should ask, is there a sense in which you understand let's just use the newspaper language. Is there a sense in which you understand the NMA, Nigerian Medical Association, lamentation that 10,296 Nigerian doctors practice in the UK, which is what a recent headline cast?
Thank you very much. Actually, I'm also a member of the NMA. All of us are.
Of course, it goes without saying.
I'm a member of that committee that looked into our manpower, how much manpower we have.
Okay.
Actually, you see, what NMA is saying is like a warning. Things are already bad. The NMA is trying to warn the government. The NMA is trying to warn the people that it can get worse. We are losing more doctors than we are making. And if we continue that way, one day, you get to a big hospital and there may be just one doctor to 5,000 patients. We know what will happen if that happens.
Exactly, because the rate right now is much less than desired, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Actually, right now, it is as if it is a dream of every young doctor to get out of Nigeria. In fact, some families celebrate it when their son or daughters can pick up a job outside Nigeria. So you can see where we are heading. Now, the question is this. If all the doctors leave Nigeria, especially the young doctors, if they leave Nigeria, what will happen to the people in Nigeria? Recently in the US, we heard about these Black Lives Matters.
That's right.
So I'm going to put that question to you. Where does Black Lives Matter? Is it in the US or in Nigeria? Does Black Lives matter in Nigeria? Does Nigerian life matter in Nigeria? So that is what NMA is trying to warn. It's already bad. Because if you want to get the picture now, if you go to our tertiary institutions, our tertiary hospitals like LASUT, you need to know somebody to get a bed. Is that bad? If you have somebody who is involved in a car crash or who has an emergency, you need to start making phone calls. You call your pastor to start praying. You call the politicians you know. And if you don't know anybody, don't help you. So, if our life won't matter here in our own land, then where will it matter? Well, so it's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate.
Indeed, it does sound that way, but there's a sense in which there have also been commentators who have been blaming, the British, for example. We're talking about the British now. It's not just the UK that doctors emigrate to. But I was reading something the other time, and a Nigerian doctor who had gone was complaining, quite bitterly that life was impossible, that it's almost as if, he was working as a slave. that kind of a thing. So it's far from the general picture which people see as rosy. There are those who are also commenting that the UK itself has its own faults. It shouldn't be taking doctors from developing places like ours. It even has legislation about that. But for some reason, they look the other way when they're doing these recruitments.
Thank you very much. Actually, in the real sense of it, who is supposed to look after us? Is it the UK or us? Who's supposed to take care of us? Do we need the UK to tell us what is right for us, what is good for us? Now, you see, the way it works is this. The Nigerian doctor, when he is in Nigeria, he is not recognized and is not appreciated. So, if he finds a place where he will be recognized and appreciated, then of course he will leave. You see, the Nigerian doctors are not the only professionals who are in this mess. And like every other professional, every other group of professionals, doctors want to be appreciated. Doctors want to be able to do their job. No, there are many reasons why doctors leave Nigeria.
Okay.
It's easy to say that, okay, they leave Nigeria because of better pay. I guess I won't have to talk much since the NMA chairman himself, the
NAD.
The other doctor.
The NAD, yes, National Association of Resident Doctors.
Is here now. So, like I was saying, my experience in both private and public sector is this. There are many reasons why the young people leave the country. For instance, let's start with, I'll mention a few.
Yes.
Financial remuneration. How well do we pay our professions in Nigeria? Doctors, lawyers, accountants, how well do we pay doctors? Secondly, what are the opportunities available for career progression in Nigeria? If you stay in Nigeria, where will you end? How will it end? You understand? Now, furthermore, you look at it, what is the working environment like? And I think in this respect, I think the doctors are worse off, especially doctors who work in government facilities. I've worked there before. Let me give you an example. When I was working in a particular government hospital, there were about 14 doctors back then. We had just one call room, just one bed that, the mattress was no longer, I've seen better days, and all of us had to use that same call room. All of us. The working environment was bad because, okay, let me put it this way. When you are training as a medical student, you usually have this fire inside you that you want to serve your nation, that you want to help your people. You want to save lives. You have that thing burning inside you. You go through 7 to 10 years in medical school, but you keep telling yourself, one day it will be worth it because I'll be saving lives. I'll be helping my people. Then you graduate from medical school and you get to the working environment and there are no tools. And there is this thing about ideally. You begin to wonder, when would ideal come? You watch people die, you watch the mortality go up. It kills you from inside because you begin to ask yourself deep down inside, what am I even doing here? You understand?
Yes.
Now, the working environment is terrible. The tools are not there, and it's not getting better. There are no plans. Then, of course, because of one reason or the other, you can't even talk in the Nigerian system. Because if you talk while it is APC government, then you belong to PDP. If you talk while it is PDP government, then you belong to APC. Then you also have to look at this. What retirement plans do we have for doctors?
Mm-hmm.
The young doctors are watching. We look at the older doctors, we look at the consultants, and you ask yourself, is this the future I want for myself? For instance, let me give you some examples. I remember Dr. Awojobi. I don't know, you may not be familiar with him. I still know at least 4 or 5 doctors that I used to idolize. They spent their life for Nigeria. They died working for Nigeria. Were they ever recognized? Recently, the National Merit Award, you saw it yourself. How many doctors, how many engineers, how many professionals were recognized? No recognition, no appreciation.
Okay.
So and then there is no job satisfaction. So it's not just the money. Another thing is that
well, doctor, I'm going to come back to you. There's plenty of time, so you'll unfold more, so I can get to hear from Dr. Emeka Innocent Orji as well, the national president of the Association of Resident Doctors of Nigeria. Dr. Orji, well, the alarm, if you want to call it that, was raised, by the NMA president, Dr. Uche Ojima, at the 2022 Physicians Week in Ibadan. And there, he opined that we've never had the brain drain, especially in the medical profession, as bad as this. You'd like to expand a bit on that, doctor?
Okay, thank you very much. The truth is that this alarm has always been raised. It's just that I believe that it is becoming more frequent now, and we hope that people have been listening. What we have in our hands is actually a crisis situation that we need to address. Otherwise, it will get to a time that you come to hospitals and you won't see any medical doctor there. Our parent body, the Nigerian Medical Association, has put out some statistics out there for people to know. Because, we keep talking about this, but it doesn't look as if Nigerians or even the government appreciate the enormity of what we are talking about. In addition to the statistics out there already, we as Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors have also gone ahead to commission some scientific studies so that we can get to know exactly what we are dealing with. And it will interest you to know that from the studies, we realized that up to 2,000 doctors left this country over the past 2 years. In fact, this year alone, from January to August, up to 800 left. And the same study also found out that even among those who are currently in Nigeria, up to 3,000 to 4,000 have indicated interest in leaving the country. And we found out that the major cause of this exodus is poor remuneration. Call it salary, welfare packages, housing scheme, car schemes, and all that. The Nigerian doctors do not feel that for the services they are rendering to this country, that they are being taken care of. And as long as you do not address this clearly, this exodus will continue. We know that, yes, the issue of insecurity, poor job satisfaction, poor equipment, and all that, it also contribute. But 80% of the time, it is because of poor remuneration. And at the root of all this is poor funding. You know about Abuja Declaration of 2001, where health establishment across the African sub-region gathered in Abuja and discussed the issue of finance for health. All of them were in agreement that for any country to have any visible improvement in their health indices, in their health sector, that they have to budget a minimum of 15% annually to their health sector. Nigeria was a signatory to that declaration.
Okay.
Till now, Nigeria have not met that 15%. And if you do not have enough funds, how are you going to be able to run the health sector in a way it should be run to keep your people in your country?
I hear you, doctor. These are observations that were made over the weekend by the national president of the NMA itself. He says, and I quote, in addition to what we've just been told by Dr. Orji, after informing that the Nigerian doctor is poorly paid, he also adds is overworked, lacks necessary tools, and has become a target for kidnapping. He went on to say that from the glorious heights that the whole society, not even just in Nigeria, that they attribute to doctors, he said they've been reduced, his word, to almost nothingness. Now, Dr. Akin Oyejoko, well, I understand. Yeah, I think I can understand, because quite frankly, we would be hypocritical if we were to say that we haven't heard or we don't know what the concerns of doctors are. It's been going on for ages. We've had innumerable programs on here where we have members of the Association of Resident Doctors, sometimes of NMA themselves, coming to make the case for the different sides. But is it getting better, or I hesitate to suggest, are there areas of improvement even if government has not been able to address all of the problems?
Thank you very much. I think I will start by asking you this question. You said other doctors have come forward in time past to, raise this same alarm and make all these complaints. Do you know of any system that the government has put in place to take care of this since that time?
Well, we haven't heard from the doctors that there's anything that is satisfactory to them.
There's no system in place. There's no system in place. You see, one of the reasons doctors leave Nigeria is that Nigeria is like a place with no systems. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. When we have a problem, we wait until this problem is almost out of hand. Then we come up with this fire brigade kind of thing. You see, if we want the young ones to stay, we need a system, a welfare system. For instance, abroad in UK, people don't have to fight, go on strike for their salary. Now, if for instance, in the course of your work, you sustain any injury, you know you are covered. You know somebody will take care of you. Is it the same thing in Nigeria? Would anybody even know that you died taking care of patients in Nigeria? I remember my experience with government hospital in Nigeria. I remember the patient relatives would come to the hospital at odd hours, bringing their patients and expecting what is not available. Then when we cannot deliver what they want, they become violent, and at times they beat up the health workers. I won't just mention doctors. Everybody is in trouble. There's no security. So you see, I have not seen any improvement. And one of the reasons young people leave is not because they don't love Nigeria. It's because they don't think there would ever be any improvement if we continue this way. Because nothing has been put in place. If you put a system in place, then right now we'll be thinking of measuring how effective that system is. But right now, there's no system in place. It's just, we just talk, and then we drop it. You see, the impression young people get is that we are not serious enough with this thing. The people, the government, we are just not serious enough about our health. And let me tell you something. In every other part of the world, people are moving forward in medicine. Like they are moving from open surgery to tiny hole and robotic surgeries and all those other type of surgeries. We in Nigeria, we are moving back to herbs. We are moving to supplements, agbo, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We're actually moving backward. So that is an indices to show us what is really happening. Our people are beginning to say that, look, there's something our great-grandparents used to do. So we are not thinking of laparoscopic surgeries. We are thinking of going backward. So you understand, because this void that is created by the lack of doctors is filled with charlatans and quacks.
Yeah.
You understand? That is why Dr. Ngige was saying that there is no void, because this void is filled with charlatans and quacks.
Wow.
You know that in Nigeria, a doctor cannot advertise, but
That's
a quack can advertise.
Well,
so you understand what I'm trying to say?
I do get.
I don't know if you go around Nigerian parks, you see somebody saying onyon. They call them gonorrhea. Doctor, what is wrong with you? When syphilis stay in your body, it becomes gonorrhea. You can imagine that.
Trado medical practitioners. That's what they call themselves.
All these things are lies, but nobody arrests them. Nobody. So I don't want to deviate, but when it comes to the welfare of doctors, in my opinion, nothing has been done, it is getting worse.
Now, we have with us, Dr. Akin Oyejoko and Dr. Emeka Innocent Orji. Dr. Orji is the National President, National Association of Resident Doctors. And we are hearing from doctors themselves that bad as this situation is, doctors recruited from Nigeria to the UK are complaining that they are, and working in UK hospitals, they are being exploited. So say those doctors. So, I mean, how can you, as it were, I don't know what you want to say. Maybe, because it's like from frying pan to fire, but maybe not quite. Maybe there are those who believe or who see it from the point of view that anything is better than the situation that we have in Nigeria. What would be your comment on that, Dr. Oji? Okay, Dr. Oji, can you hear me now? Dr. Oji, I can see that you can't hear me. Dr. Yejoko? Okay, if you can hear me, because we seem to have a sound problem. You know, as I was saying, you know, there are those, it's been worked out by some that 6,000 of the 10,000 doctors that we're talking about left in this particular political dispensation since President Buhari came to power. Where they got those figures from, I do not know. They didn't even attribute it, but, you know, just know that you can't believe everything you read in the papers, especially as it hasn't been attributed. Just take it for what it is. So, look, of these doctors, we are reading that some of them are saying that they actually are being exploited and that they're being worked almost to death, such that very much what you people are complaining, you medical doctors are complaining about in Nigeria, that, look, if we're not good, then imagine the situation of our patients. It's going to be worse. So the doctors in the UK reportedly are complaining or, you know, warning that this kind of slave labor, to exaggerate it only slightly, is not even helping. First of all, not helping the doctors.
Thank you very much.
And not helping the patients.
I have been in the UK myself.
Sure. So can you, maybe because of that, you can comment on this report that I just cited. Is there anything to it?
Okay, it is this way and that, in all sincerity. By UK standard, by the standard over there, we may say that our doctors are being overworked, and they don't. We may say that the condition there, they are being exploited one way or the other.
Yes.
But you see that same condition that they are over there. If you compare it to what is in Nigeria, what they were getting in Nigeria, in fact, you would think they are in heaven.
Oh dear.
You understand?
So you say you've been in the UK, understand. You've been able to observe this, yes, and you say that that very complaint they are making is like heaven compared to what your colleagues are going through here.
Yes. You know, I went through the report, and some of them said they were working 4, 5, 6 days.
That's right.
Straight. Let me give you an example. In Osut, that is the teaching hospital in Shagamu, if you become a resident today, you work for 6 months straight. So how do you compare that? If you become a resident in surgery, you work for 6 months straight. They call it packing in. You will pack in. Do you get it? So how do you compare 6 days to 6 months?
Wow. I hear what you're saying. In the meantime, let me pick up this call. A viewer has called in. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to the doctors before you.
Yes, thank you.
Uncle Yori, please, if you can give me 90 seconds, I will be
Sure. Please go ahead.
What is going on?
Please go ahead.
Uncle Yori, gone are the days people engage in professions for the love of it, for the passion of it. Children will be telling you, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a doctor, a lawyer when I grow up. And when they do it with passion. The teacher that taught me in the primary school, Uncle Yori, who died as a teacher. After retirement, she died at the age of 86, and she was teaching up to that age. When she retired, she started teaching at private level till she died. What I'm saying is that it is no longer like that. People now engage in professions for the sake of money. I'm not saying that government is right by not properly equipping hospitals. But we know that the level of performance in governance here is not comparable to what it is in advanced countries. We cannot jump and just meet them in one day. But is it sufficient if that teacher I referred to say the schools are not having books or good desks, so I will stop teaching? It's not like that. Somebody, this brain drain we talk about, Uncle Yori, it's not all bad about it. Before the brain drain, Nigerians are found anywhere in this world. We are good travelers. We move around. The brain drain aspect of it is not just a loss per se. The 2021 report of the Central Bank report shows that those in diaspora remitted $42 billion to this country in year 2021 alone. That's a positive side of it. There's no law that says you cannot move and use your profession somewhere. But the loss of it is what we are talking about. Where is the place of passion? The other doctor in pink shirt said that they are not honored. Dr. Adadego was honored in the last list that I saw because of the passion that she demonstrated. Whoever demonstrates a unique passion in his profession here, even if he's not recognized by government, nature will recognize him one day. What I'm saying is that you do not do your job because you just want to be recognized. You should do it passionately because you want to add value as a human being to the service of your fellow men. Where is this value in all of this? The government, I saw in the manifesto of Asiwaju Tinubu that he was going to be giving student loans to students. Maybe if somebody, his lieutenants are hearing me, he should seize this opportunity to amend that manifesto. You can give loans to the students, but when they graduate, they should serve our country for a specified minimum period before they can go out of this country. It's just a suggestion. I wish
I hear you.
He hears me. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. George, for calling in, as always. Well, Dr. Emeka Orji, it looks like you're back online now. Can you hear me now, Dr.
Yes,
Orji?
I was.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you later.
Okay, good.
I was initially...
Yes, there were challenges. Your picture is different now, so that was when I knew that it's likely that things have sort of normalized. I had sort of relayed the comment that you already know yourself, I'm sure, which is that in the UK, there are Nigerian doctors. I mean, it's bad as things are here, but doctors are complaining that it's unimaginable what some of them go through, that they are being exploited, they are working, without rest. But at the time when there was a technical issue, Dr. Ejoko had sort of put perspective on that. He had opined that, look, I've been there myself, and I've been to the UK that you're talking about myself, and the situation, bad as it is, according to those doctors, it's almost like heaven compared to what your fellow professionals and compatriots are going through here. So I was going to ask you to comment, first of all, on that whole business about Nigerian doctors in the UK in particular might not be having it all that good, and whether it is relevant, because they've always been complaining not just about money, not just about remuneration, but also for the environment that will enable them to perform as a trained professional, as a doctor. That's not what you require just an office for. There's a whole infrastructure that allows that, and doctors have complained that we don't have that whole infrastructure, the medical practice, the equipment, and all of that. Dr. Orji.
So, well, it depends. Yeah, it depends on what the complaints are. But again, it is also the responsibility of the government of Nigeria to ensure that their citizens who are outside this country are not maltreated or do not suffer any form of discrimination, whether they are doctors or non-doctors.
Sure.
Having said that, we also need to know the statistics of those complaining. What I know is that, however you look at it, most doctors feel that no matter the kind of treatment that they are complaining about, that they are still better off outside this country, where their remuneration will be better, the working conditions are better, you are better appreciated for the expert work you are rendering, And now,
what do you say, doctor? Doctor, I'm sorry. What do you say, doctor, to a viewer who just said that, look, everything, be that as it is, but there's also the passion thing that people, perhaps could exhibit a bit better. I wonder how you react to that kind of a mark that, look, yeah, there are a number of things that are quite important, but there's the passion. Maybe, do you have any comment on that particular line of thought?
Believe me, we have the passion. In fact, that is actually what drives some people out. When you are seeing a patient that you can take care of, that you can treat, but you do not have the necessary equipment to do what you are supposed to do, then you can decide to go out there where you have what you need to work with. And I was going to say that because people quickly say that Nigeria has revenue challenges and all that. Yes, that may be true. But even when you compare the remuneration of a doctor in Nigeria, and indeed all health workers, to what other countries with comparative economic, with almost the same economic status with Nigeria, they are still remunerated better than what we are having in this country. And to make the picture clearer, when I was a house officer about 10 years ago plus, what I was paid as a house officer, that's the most junior cadre of doctors, is higher than what I'm being paid now as a senior registrar. If you compare with inflation and dollar exchange rate, so these things are very important, and it is not a joke. There's nobody that will see this kind of thing, that what you are getting is not even enough to take care of your further training. And indeed, you actually need this training to still perform better in your hospital environment. Not to talk of being enough to take care of your family and other needs that you may have. Then
Indeed.
You have a better offer outside. Then you will definitely want to take that offer outside this.
Okay.
So
one moment, doctor, because Mazi Okoroafo has called in from Arochukwu. Thank you for holding on, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, my brothers, doctors on the sky. You see, quacks are everywhere. And many Nigerians have been sent to early grave because of quack doctors we have in Nigeria. But those that went to early grave, they are so responsible. But what I want to find out from doctors, see, consultants among the doctors are not available in the federal and state universities. And some of them were trained by the state or the federal government. Now, why is it that many of them are not in the consulting? When you can, they say that they are into research. Now, you are into research. What are you researching? You are researching about the unforeseen and foreseen ones. But presently, we know you as a consultant, you're supposed to be available when needed. But they will be leaving all these house officers to be taken care of, which is not healthy. Because there are many ailments. A patient will go to the hospital. It's a consultant that will be there. At least he has experience. But house officers are there. Honestly, there's no time. We're bringing you up to 4 reports about how some people went to early grave. Now, doctors without borders, where there are flaws, you see them. But here in Nigeria, we find it very difficult to have such a doctor. Why is it? Today, as I'm talking now, present to you, statistics or research will show that 80% of Nigerians are into science-oriented courses. Everybody, medicine, pharmacy, anatomy, surgery, where is something about the school. But the question is this: many of them are just rushing there because they need money. Sharp, that is a professional course. Not that they have the interest for the job. When you talk about doctors in UK, look, when you go, UK is a conservative country. America is a federal country. When you go to UK or US, you work and you collect your salary based on the number of hours. It is not like Nigeria own. Whether you go to work or you don't go to work, at the end of the month, you collect your salary. You do.
Well, okay. I wonder, okay, Dr. Oyejoko, would you like to comment on that? That was another perspective.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will quickly comment on that and the first caller.
Sure.
First of all, Mazi Okoroafo.
Mazi Okoroafo, yes.
Okay. He spoke about quackery and that there are quacks everywhere. Like I said earlier, when you don't have the real doctors, when you don't have the genuine doctors, quacks will come in to fill the space. Now, he also spoke about doctors going, like senior doctors, consultants going for research. And because they went on research, they their absence meant that those who should be seen were not seen. Actually, sir, Mazi Okorafo, the reason that is happening is because you don't have enough consultants. Research is part and parcel of medical practice. Things are changing every day, and you need to be abreast of what is happening. You see, yesterday's solution cannot treat today's problem. So if we had enough doctors, some will go on research while some will be at work.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question, Daddy. Why is it that the doctors who leave Nigeria, the bad doctors who leave Nigeria, bad in quotes, because they don't come to work, why is it that when they go abroad, they go to work? Why is that they do well? Now, this brain drain started in the 80s. All the doctors who left in the 80s, have you heard that any of them regretted leaving? Those who refused to go back then, is any of them proud of staying back? Now, let me go to the first caller.
Well, doctor, I beg your pardon. Sir. Our program is very interactive, and in the meantime, Ada from Jos has called in. So let's hear from
Mr.
Ada.
Yuri. Ada calling from Jos Plateau State.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Good morning to you, the doctors there.
Good
morning.
Mr.
Yuri, passion, yes, like me, I'm in the teaching profession. It's a passion. That you have passion, does it mean that you will not have an enabling environment to work? Let's face it in this country. Let's not be pretentious about these issues. And my happiness is our doctors, even the bad states our universities are in, and they're trained. They go abroad. I have so many relations. They give them exams and they excel and they do very well. So that complaint, the other doctor was saying that over there they overwork them and all that, they exploit them and all that. When you compare it to the condition in Nigeria, it's nothing to write home about the condition in Nigeria, you know. Then Adedefo you're talking about. Adedefo, we're among those who are talking and say, please, they should honor Adedefo. That posthumous award was belated. Remember, it happened during the time of Ebola. She took the bullet for us, you know. If not, that man, if he had gone for that conference, we would have all died of Ebola to some reasonable extent. Then it was when the pressure was much. Jonathan should have given that award, if you ask me. But they didn't. It was when the press, even journalists, they were among those pressmen who were, talking about Adedefo Stella. And that was how they gave her that award, belated award. Then having said that, again, provided we have medical tourism, nobody's talking about that. Medical tourism is there. You cannot fix what you don't patronize. Let me give you what happened to me, an experience. I was in the theater, I was on the ongoing operation, you know. And then that is the surgical operation on my tooth. They wanted to replace it, you know, and they were doing it. And they took the light. The doctor, he didn't know what to do. In fact, the doctor, he was waiting for them to put on the jet. They said they had no diesel. Then he had to put his hand in his pocket and go and send for diesel, Mr. Yori. And he said to me, Madam, have you seen what we're talking about? He said all his friends have left. He's the only one remaining among his 5 friends. You know, so what are you talking about? Who is talking about? You're talking about there's no money. Money is not the issue. It's misplaced priority because they don't have their Medicare here. Look at the budget for ASO clinic or whatever they call it. It's more than all the budget they have for all this, and yet they don't accept Medicare there. You know, even their families. Then what are we talking about?
Well, okay, Ada, thank you very much for calling in. Coming back to you, Dr. Orji, would you like to add anything? Because the situation we have on our hands now, Dr. Oyejoko has said earlier that one of the reasons is that the doctors have looked and there's nothing, according to him, on the horizon for them. So they move to where perhaps people better appreciate, the learning, the training, and indeed the work that doctors do. You just heard Ada give us an example of her experience under the knife, so to speak, in Nigeria. Dr. Oji?
Okay, so we believe that there is a solution to this problem. We know that we've been engaging government on it. They have told us the moves they are making to resolve this issue. Okay. What we are appealing is that whatever the government is doing should be fast-tracked and that we should be allowed to be part of the resolution of this problem. Because if the government just sits down on its own and fashions out what they think will solve this matter without involving us, we fear that it may actually escalate it. We know that some government officials have been muting some ideas that we believe that if they implement, it will actually worsen this issue.
Oh,
So
okay.
let them allow us to be part of the resolution to this problem. We are the people involved. We know why our members are leaving. We have interacted with them. We have even done studies to confirm what we already know. So we believe that if these things are addressed, doctors will stay in this country. Make no mistake about it, our members want to stay in this country. We don't want to go out and be, second citizens. But at the root of all this problem is remuneration. So if we are remunerated better and the working condition improves, the welfare packages improve, then we will stay here. And I also want to highlight one thing. Even though we have this shortage we are talking about, the hospitals do not even have enough, and we still have doctors who are roaming the streets who have not been employed. The hospitals have been depleted. So the government should reduce the bureaucracy involved in recruitment of clinical staff.
Okay,
because
Doctor.
this is part of the issue we have. We also
Dr. Oji, we're going to have to leave it there, but I want to thank you very much. We've run out of time, but thank you very much for the insight that you have given. Same thing to Dr. Akin Oyejoko. Thank you very much, Doctor, and also for your insights into this matter. The last thing we want is for that number to increase beyond the 10,296 that we're talking about here. It will be a delightful thing to hear that the number has come down because you guys have got what you want, which is better conditions, better equipment. Thank you very much, Dr. Akin Oyejoko and Dr. Emeka Innocent Oji. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, so that's our program today.
Thank you.
Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.